パトン豪華滅却
What's going on, YouTube? Back again for a Smite update. Smite 2 was just announced at Smite Worlds. It looks insane. It looks really, really good. I think that's the point of it. The point of Smite 2 is to look amazing and execute completely differently. The same, but different. It's got the same foundation, but the building on top is completely separate of Smite 1. So we're just going to jump straight into it. I'm going to give a quick overview of the game itself and the history it has thus far, some of the God updates they've announced, and the shakeups that are coming with Smite 2. So for those who don't know, Smite is a MOBA. It's played just like League of Legends and Dota and all those other big MOBAs. There's a 3v3, a 1v1, and a 5v5, and there are a few other modes in there they've been playing around with over the years, but those are the essential game modes. Conquest is the 5v5, Joust is a 3v3, and Duel is 1v1, and they go in that order in terms of popularity, in terms at like ranked and played. Obviously at Worlds, the most competitive, it's 5v5. That's for every MOBA really, so they fall in line there. Unlike typical MOBAs though, Smite is third person. It's not top down, so you're not you're able to see as much, but I mean you're not able to see as much as you can in the other ones, but at the same time you still get that peak view of corners, and it is zoomed out enough to where it's not your typical third person. You're not right behind the god's head. You're back some, as you can see in the gameplay. It's also more heavily designed towards being console friendly than any of the other MOBAs that are out. I think that's expanded the community quite a bit. I play on Xbox. I've tried PC, just not a lot. I'm here in this future gonna build a PC, and I might try to hop over there, but I'm between platinum and diamond basically. In terms of skill, I'd say I'm a solid diamond. I wouldn't go any higher than that, but yeah, so I'm only console, and it's cross-platform, so I'm playing against non-console players as well. The game was originally released in 2014. It has been running on Unreal Engine 3 this entire time. The big reveal of Smite 2 was the graphic update. It's built on Unreal Engine 5, which if anyone's seen anything that's come out of Unreal 5, it is unreal. It is absolutely crazy. Some games have been scaled so high you literally cannot tell them from reality. Check those videos out for sure, but it's just a huge update. The GM of Titan Forge Games, which is the people who make Smite, his name's Travis Brown. He has described it, quote, a chance to go back, take all the learnings from 10 years of making Smite into one of the most successful multiplayer games of all time, and do it all strictly better. So their goal is to take Smite, crush it down to its core, and then build it better than Smite 1 was. And I was wondering, you know, is enough changing to validate a Smite 2 instead of a Smite rework all over? And the answer is yes. So first we'll start off with the gods. So Smite has, I think, 130 plus, I know it's at least 130 gods. And obviously they're not patching over or porting over 130 gods into Smite 2. That would just be unrealistic. One, I think it would probably blow up the entire point of trying to validate the changes you've made and regulate the changes you made. That's the two biggest thing in R&D, which is what it's in right now. It's still in R&D. So the alpha is coming out, but alpha means just one step further in R&D. It's not fully released yet. They don't have a full release date yet. They have an alpha release date, but not the game. I'm gonna go with the game's gonna be the end of this year, beginning of next year, probably around Worlds next year. That would be a long time, but given that they just announced it, typically games get announced and then it's within 1 to 1.5 years that they're released. So with this being not as big of a studio as, you know, the God of Wars that get announced and stuff, I would conservatively say end of 2024, best case scenario. And that's assuming alpha goes well, beta goes well. So they did say they would port over 25 playable gods to Smite 1 as the base for the alpha. Now, I don't mean just for Smite 2. but for the alpha for Smite 2, it's going to have 25 gods ported over in total. They're the core gods. They're the gods you'll see in the preview, plus a little more. I'll throw the list up right now, but they've already said Bacchus, Anhur, Ymir, Anubis, Bellona, Chak, Kukulkan, Odin, Cernunnos, and Loki are guarantees for the alpha. And Hecate, Danzaburo, Hercules, Pele, Izanami, Yamoja, and Jingwei were also on a list as well. That does not add up to 25, I'm well aware, but I was seeing a few inconsistencies in between different websites, and IGN's strictly the one I'm gonna, well, not just IGN, but, you know, reporters on that level, because they've gotten the information well ahead of time. If it's not in there, it's probably not completely validated. But HI-REZ themselves confirmed the ones I already said were definitely going to be in the alpha. The rest were mentioned on the list to go on the alpha as well. And note, Hecate is up there. For those who don't play, it's a ring you can get from magical gods that increases movement speed once you basic attack an enemy god. But the god themselves has not been in the game. It's just been Hecate. It's just like the ring people get typically. So that'll be cool to see Hecate added. Now for the shakeups, the things that I personally agree with them making an entirely different game based on these changes alone. They noted that the sequel, as I've said this whole time, the sequel is going to retain the core game itself of Smite. It's not going to change. It's still a MOBA. It's still played the same, but the actual players, like the strategy of the game, will have to change because of the biggest shakeup so far, which they've announced is gods in Smite 1 are typically physical or magical. I say typically, they're only physical or magical, and therefore the items you can build once you pick that god are either physical or magical items, and there are no mixed items. Smite 2 will eliminate all of that. Every god will be allowed to build all items in the game, both physical and magical. From the reports that I've seen, the scaling of the individual abilities are going to be based on a new strength and intelligence stat, which reminds me a lot more of an RPG because, you know, intelligence is in every RPG, used more for magic versus strength, which is usually physical ability. So I think it's going to change from physical and magical to strength and intelligence. That's basically what they're saying. And relics are being completely removed out of the game, period. They're also restructuring the store, so when you go to buy and build while playing, it's supposed to be more adaptable. They did that, like, I think 6 months ago or 3 months ago. I can't remember. In Smite 1, they did that, and it split the whole community. Half people hated it, half people didn't. Mostly console players hated it because it made it more difficult for us to move around. I wasn't a fan, but it's one of those get used to it, don't just trash it immediately things. I'm not gonna lie, I trashed it immediately. I didn't like that I couldn't change back initially. It was definitely seemed like it was built more for PC. Let me just put it that way, because I do like the options that it gave, because you could just click, I want attack speed, and I want it to give me health, and I want to do this, and then it'll bring up all the options you have. That sounds in theory perfect, but in Smite sometimes every second counts, and I play Duel and Joust more than anything else. So if I'm dead, it's okay for me to do that. But if I'm backing to Fountain before I come back out to help my teammates, and I'm having to spend another 30 seconds in Fountain just because, you know, I don't know exactly where something is. 99% of the streamers I watch play the game, they don't even look for an item. They just type in the name. I can't do that on console. Well, it gave me the option to, but again, I have to then wait for a bar to come up and type it in as fast as I physically can if I don't have a keyboard attached to my controller, which no one even uses that anymore. So it just, you know, it had its ups and downs. I think it was a great idea. I just think it could have been executed differently. So yeah, that's my 2 cents on that. I say all that to say I'm interested to see what the rework's going to be on this, since now it's all mixed. Before, even with that updated option they did when they changed how the store looked, I could still only see the items I could buy. Now I'm gonna see everything. Now everyone's gonna see everything flat out. I'm assuming they're gonna have a couple, probably 2 ways you can adjust it to. I would imagine, because in the alpha, I would imagine it's only gonna be 1, and then they're gonna take, you know, feedback, and then they're probably gonna do the same for the beta, and then at some point in the beta, they'll probably roll out 2 options. One for basically like a carryover from Smite 1, like a legacy screen for console, and then 2 will be the view they want moving forward. I don't think they should do that, even though I just bitched and complained about them doing it last time. I think if you're making a new game, stick to your guns, make the new everything how you think it should be best, and work from there. If you don't like it, go to Smite 1. If I don't like it, I'm gonna complain, but I'm still gonna play Smite 2 until I get used to it. That's just how it works. But those were the biggest changes that, to me, automatically validated a new game. Another thing they mentioned was all in-game skins released before season 11 or year 11 won't carry over to Smite 2. So basically every skin that's out, it's like 1,600 skins that probably won't be ported over. I think they'll port over some slowly. I did the math. It's 1,600 skins over 10 years is 160 skins a year. That sounds crazy, but legacy gems. So they're calling the new gems legacy gems. Legacy gems are gonna be given to the players from Smite 1, the legacy players, and it's supposed to translate at a 50% value. So if something is worth 400 gems, then a legacy player from Smite 1 will have to spend half as much. It'll only be 200 gems for them, essentially. So it's basically just getting half off of everything. I don't know how long they're gonna do that for. I don't know if that means, did you just have a profile in Smite 1? Did you play for X amount of time? Did you hit X amount of low? Like, I don't know the requirements. I'm gonna guess to make it easier on them, they're just gonna do a flat statement of from year 11 before, if you had a profile, then it will carry over to 2 and count you as a legacy player and cut their gems in half. Now, I work for a major retailer at their corporate office. I see a lot of behind the scenes in how big retailers price and their profit margins and everything. I can tell you right now, Smite 2 cost them a pretty penny. So my guess with this gems thing is they're gonna do what we do. They're gonna say it costs 1,000 gems. Legacy players get it for 500. When the goal was probably it costs 500 gems. So all they did was double it so that anybody who does buy it that's not legacy is paying a pretty penny. Anybody who does buy it that is legacy is paying the fee that they wanted in the first place. That would be my guess. Anyone who's played Smite knows that those gem prices that they ask for skins range ridiculously. Some will be literally 4,000 and some will be like 400. Obviously, they have a rarity scale, so the rarer it is, the more it costs. But even the rarer it is, the more it costs. I've seen the same level of rarity on skins and they vary so much in price. So who knows? I'm excited to see how that goes. I'm excited to see the new skins. I was talking with my friends about it. They were mentioning that T5 skins are going to be interesting. T5 skins are rare, expensive, and they get not vaulted because they don't come back out. They get locked away. Once they're gone, they're gone. If you ain't got it, you don't get it. So I'm interested to see how they do T5 skins. If they're going to port any of those over, or if they're going to do Smite 2 T5. I think it would suck to not get your T5 skins from Smite 1, but again, I'm all for, if you're gonna be new, keep it new, keep everything fresh, make new T5s. I would love to see some of these skins in Unreal 5 because it would look freaking amazing. But on the other hand, I understand why they're not doing it. So overall, this Smite 2 release is gonna be amazing. The alpha, I'll have in the description, I'll have the link for you to click on to register for Smite 2 alpha. It's very easy. All you have to do is go to the website, click on register alpha, put in your email address. They're just gonna send you a code and you have to click your platform. I used 3 of my emails, so I got a better chance of getting a code. And if I get multiple codes, then I'll probably just give away one of the codes on one of my videos. So anybody who watched it to the end will just get the code for free. If they don't get it, I'm sure it's gonna be a massive alpha. But the point of an alpha is to be a very small amount of people so that when it goes to the beta, it's much larger. So I don't know how they're gonna do that. My overall consensus of it is this is going to be amazing. I think it's gonna make a lot of people upset in terms of how much they're changing, since they're changing literally everything. But what I would say to them is play Smite 1. They have already said Smite 1 is not going away. It will still be supported. It will still be patched and updated. They still will have a dedicated team for that. But Smite 2 is their future. Just like every other game that comes out on, since games have existed. They're not gonna just completely eliminate it, but at some point, you need to understand they're going to move forward more strongly on Smite 2, probably after launch. Right now, they probably grind it for the past year, 2 or 3 to get it to where it is now. So now it's kind of just the R&D, everything you've done. you know, get out all the game testing issues and everything. So I'm super excited for it. Can't wait to play it. Can't wait to see more information. As they start putting out more information, I'll definitely post more videos on it. All the bigger streamers get all this information well in advance, so they already have videos ready. They're just not legally allowed to post them until Smite announces it. So, you know, theirs went up instantly. Hopefully I get someone to watch this so that they can maybe comment. I'm really, really interested in what everybody thinks of it. I care less if you don't like the video. You can dislike or whatever you want, but I want to hear what everybody thinks. The community gets torn super big on Smite on the littlest things. They updated Loki ult one time, when they did update Loki ult and changed it, everyone lost their freaking minds like everyone's a Loki main. So the littlest thing shakes up the community. This is earth shattering in the best way. So I'm super excited. Like, dislike, comment, subscribe, don't subscribe, leave something so I know what you think. That way I can move forward and comment back on future videos. Thanks for watching. Catch you on the next video. Peace.